Hello, everyone. This is Mr. Informal back with a new podcast. We are on podcast 67 edition of the Mr. Informal Podcast. Make sure to follow me at Instagram, MisterInformal. And don't forget to check out my website at Mr. Informal. That's MrInformal.com. So, we are on the 67th edition of the Mr. Informal Podcast. Wow, I can't even speak today. So these are the 4 topics for today. Number 1, Apple is being sued for selling customer data. That would be against their policy and also a certain state. Number 2, Amazon made a boo-boo. They accidentally sold a prototype of the Moto Z4 before it was announced and released. Number 3, consumer preferring to buy products that have causes, that have some kind of reasons. And last but not least, this is going to be a deep one: luxury prices. Yes, luxury prices of luxury goods. And so those are the 4 topics for today. I hope you will enjoy it as I will. And so let's start with the Mr. Informal 67th edition podcast. So in a report by Billboard, plaintiffs Lee Wheaton, Jill Paul, and Trevor Paul are claiming Apple have sold private data to third parties that includes their name and the kind of item or the kind of music that they have purchased and also listened to, and it is in iTunes. So the lawsuit claims that supplements its revenue by selling, renting, and transmitting with third parties information about the music that each customer purchases from iTunes store. Documents note that Apple purposely discloses full names, addresses, and its customers. Wow. So the plaintiffs are basically seeking over $5 billion. Yes, $5 billion in damages. And just to add a bit of a note, also that these data selling to third parties are in violation of Rhode Island and Michigan. Those are the 2 states. So let's talk about this. So certainly I am against any companies that is collecting your data, my data too. I am also against companies who sell all of our data, customer data. It doesn't matter to who. Doesn't matter if they keep it, as long as they're selling it, I am against it. Now this takes it a little bit higher, where you are selling our data. Apple is selling your data, including your name, addresses, yes, address, and the items that you purchased and also downloaded or you may have listened. That is unbelievable, but then again, it's not. So I truly hope that Apple does get fined for this, if it's true, because this is not right. This is illegal. If you want to collect our data, sure, but don't put our name. It should be an anonymous data. It should not be a name. And if you're gonna say that it's for the benefit of the company to make forward progress, to make our products much better, okay, but I don't think that's what you're doing. That is my opinion. I don't think that's what they're doing. They're just basically selling data to third parties. That way they can sell ad revenue to whoever the customer is. I'm not happy about this, and I truly think that Apple do get fined for this. Not only that, I'm pretty sure that the Apple loyal fans are not going to care about it. They're going to say, oh, it's free. No, it's not. You bought the phone, you bought the laptop, you bought the desktop, whatever Apple product that you may have that is connected to the internet is collecting your data. So you purchased it, but it doesn't mean that they had the right to collect your data. Now you want to say, oh, but I'm using their app. Okay, that's fine, but you also purchased the item. So why does your money is still being used for something else? Not only that, your personal experience is being collected to be sold off. Where is my share of that? Where is your share of that? But apparently it's not. There's no such thing as a pre-product. It's pretty obvious that Apple is selling you items that you can use their apps, but apparently it's not. And it shouldn't be that way. And so, as I've said it again, I truly hope that Apple do get fined for this. So prior to the release of the Motorola Z4, I'm going to make a thoughts analysis of this phone. Amazon.com has sold a prototype of the Motorola Z4 prior to its announcement, its released, whatever you want to call it. So it was sold off once to an anonymous person. The retail price of this phone is $500, and the person made a video off of it. And so there goes the Motorola Z4. So it's pretty obvious that somebody messed up in Amazon.com. Amazon is getting so big that it doesn't even know what it's doing. It is so big that it can't even control its workers. It is so big that it can't even process everything correctly. It is so big that its priority is in shambles. Now, don't get me wrong, Amazon.com is still making profits. It's on its $billion value, or it could be trillions by now, whatever the value of Amazon.com is right now. And so this is a major screw up. That's all there is to it. I don't know what else to say. Now, since it is a prototype, I don't know where it came from. Apparently somebody in Motorola, I bet you, also messed up. It could be Lenovo now, whoever. How can you sell a phone prior to its release or even announcement? And so I guess nobody knows, but apparently only two companies knows, Amazon and also Motorola. So what is the solution here? Well, it's pretty obvious. One, don't make a product page. Don't even launch the product page. Number two, have it locked somewhere else where it can't be open. Only a manager or somebody can open it. I'm pretty sure that in the future, this is not the first time that this will happen. I'm sure Apple will end up going through this. Samsung will probably go through this. Some phone manufacturer will probably be going through this again. And so hopefully we learn a lesson here, but it's pretty obvious that Amazon should have never sold this. If a phone that is not, I don't even know what was in the product page. I haven't even checked it out. But for some reason this slipped through. Well, I guess this won't be the first time that a product was slipping through Amazon pages. So, topic number 3. In these times, consumers are more likely to buy items that have causes, that have some kind of activism to it. So an article from Women's Wear Daily, title of the article says, "Does cause-based commerce really work?" In the US, there's a potent landscape for retailers and brands to take a stance on key issues plaguing the consumer's thoughts. So there's a particular line in this article that says, let me see. Here we go. So, Do Something Strategic, a youthful focused social impact consultancy, revealed 58% of young consumers aged 13 to 25 are more likely to buy from brands that back a good cause. The survey included 1,908 responses from its community members, noting consumers' behavioral change. Mary Noel, director at Do Something Strategic, cites young people as the vanguards of this shift. She mentioned the brands Allbirds, Everlane, and Adidas as examples of how the footwear industry can impact real change by taking renewed interest in ethical sourcing and sustainable materials, as each brand has shown. I'm surprised that Adidas is even in that. I mean, Adidas is also doing bad things here. I mean, not gonna pass Everlane. I know Allbirds doing well. So, back to the topic at hand. That's crazy. 58% of consumers, okay, that the age 13 to 25 are more likely to buy from brands with a good cause. I mean, what I don't get, here's my thing. What is a good cause to them? Is it environmental issues? Is it tax issues? Is it ethical issues? Is it working place issues? I mean, working environment issues. What are we dealing with here? Because I work in the fashion industry, so I know what goes behind the scenes. And so if they're talking about environmental issue, well, let's take, instead of talking about the company, let's take a stance on fossil fuels. How about let's support hydrogen fuel if you really want to make an environmental impact. I'm not saying I'm against these activism, but what I want is that let's get to the truth. Let's get to the core. If we really want to reduce our carbon footprint in the world, how about let's go to the core of it. Now, we can make some baby steps, but how many more years are we taking baby steps? This has been talked about since, in the 2000s. We're talking about recycle, reuse, recycle, reduce, the 3 R's. We're talking about hand-me-downs, donation to goodwill. Selling vintage items to other people so they could reuse it again. We keep going on and on and on. Now, to me, it's good that these young people, I'm also one of those young people, are getting into it. Getting to know brands that have a good cause and actually supporting those brands. And I think that competition is great, and the more these brands are getting bigger and bigger, obviously these brands will also take an effect, will also take the change, and will also hopefully maintain their core values of being ethical and also having a great ethos. And so in terms of my thinking is that, okay, these brands are doing a great cause, and I'm glad that us people are buying these brands and also supporting these brands. But at the same time, how far can we go until we get to the real bottom issues? I believe that if we are so into this, why can't we be into other things, such as these corporates, companies, and these conglomerates are getting tax breaks? Our states are spending too many crazy money for no reasons. Flying private jets, spending 5-star dinner when they shouldn't. But again, people will only create protest and dialogue of what they see in front of them. They don't see the behind the scenes. And I truly hope that these will keep growing. That way we can at least maintain our carbon footprint or even reduce it. Because as human population grow, the earth can't sustain us. We basically have to migrate out of this planet and move on to another planet and maybe live in space. Okay, now I'm getting off topic here, but to the topic at hand, I am absolutely surprised 58% more likely to buy from brands that back a good cause. And if that percentage keeps going, hopefully more brands will take notice and actually change their ethos. So, on the last topic of the Mr. Informal Podcast, I'm on the website voguebusiness.com. Article states what prices reveal about luxury fashion trends. So, a Vogue Business analysis of the strategies of 13 brands highlight pricing is part of the marketing toolkit and the importance of data in the age of e-commerce. So I was reading this article and I was absolutely, I wouldn't say surprised, but kind of interest and kind of a bit revealing. So check this out, right? Louis Vuitton sells the most expensive product and has the highest median price, while Burberry's mid-tier products are the most accessible. Wow. Not only that, the most expensive items sold at multi-brand e-tailers are on average 17% cheaper than at own brand stores, suggesting fashion houses want to maintain direct relationship with their most valuable customers. Wow. So, as you can tell from those key takes, Louis Vuitton basically is number one when it comes to selling luxury. Not only that, there's a particular piece of the article in the paragraph that says, it is almost like a marketing tool, says Sandeep Khanna, director of fashion and luxury. It's headline grabber. It creates a PR. It creates an impact on social media channels. Whether they actually make a lot of money out of it is less important. So basically, the high price of luxury items could be seen as a marketing tool, whether it be good or bad, whether you make or money or not. So as you can tell from Marketing 101, any news is good news. Any press is good press, basically. Do I believe in this? Yes. I believe that these luxury prices, these skyrocketing prices are just our marketing tool. And yes, you may spend $100,000 on a Hermes bag, or even spend $5,000 on a Louis Vuitton bag, or even earrings, or even watches. But these high prices, when you post it online or on social media, it does get a little bit of buzz, and people will say, oh, you spend this much, so and so. And so people look at the items, and some gain interest, some don't. But those interests do make businesses money, because they're not spending money on marketing. People are actually doing it for them. And man, I can't believe Louis Vuitton is still number one. Even with her, there's a graph that they have in this article. It says Hermes figures listed from June 2018 through May 2019. Okay, thousands in pounds. Most expensive women's products sold on an own brand is Louis Vuitton is first, Dior is second, Hermes is third, Tom Ford is fourth, Alexander McQueen is fifth. Unbelievable. And so the takeaway of this is that, do you really need to buy expensive items? If you have the money, sure, why not? But you don't. Do you need to post everything online with the item that you bought that is expensive? No. Because, well, you're basically helping these companies. You're giving them free marketing. Look, there's times when I believe that a certain item should be noticed. But when it comes to luxury goods, they don't need marketing. So you shouldn't even have to tell people that you bought this. If you really want to flounce, if you want to show off, don't do it in social media. Do it in person and say, hey, check this out. That's how you show off. And even then, I'm sure people will hate you or not. And so that basically concludes this 67th edition of the Mr. Informal Podcast. I hope you enjoy listening to me, and don't forget to add me on Instagram, MISTERINFORMAL, and don't forget to check out my website. That's mrinformal.com, MRINFORMAL.com. I will see you in the next podcast. Bye bye.